A while ago I made a video about why, at the time, Ben the Looney was my favorite YouTube channel of all time. Once again, I was very young. Now that my senses and, well, I as a person, have matured, I have some very different tastes. A lot of the people that I found funny and entertaining back then, not so much anymore, and of course vice versa. And of course, as a college student who spends a lot of time on the internet watching YouTube videos, sometimes when I'm supposed to be doing my work, I'm obviously gonna have my favorites. Now there are some that I like a lot, some of which being Game Grumps, Pie Guy Rules, Ashens, Andre Black Nerd, and so forth. But then of course, every single person on this site has to be asked that one question. Who is your number one favorite? The one where whenever you want a good time, you go right to their videos and start watching. Keep in mind, some of the people that I just said, like Game Grumps, Ashens, Andre Black Nerd, there's some pretty high-profile people, and certainly some good contenders for the number one slot for most people, right? Well, they're great and all, but they're not my number one. I'm willing to bet that a lot of you out there, heck, most of you, may not have even heard of my number one, considering the fact that he is about 200 subscribers ahead of me. And I'm not even the number one guy on the site, far from it. Anyways, who is this man? Who is this myth? Who is this legend? Rowdy C, aka TV Trash, my number one favorite YouTube channel of all time. But why? Why is Chris Lee Moore, aka the Rowdy Reviewer, my favorite over people like Ashens, Game Grumps, and so forth? Well, saddle up folks and I'll explain why. First I'll start off with how I got to know Rowdy C. It actually came from Mr. Enter, someone that Rowdy C is a very big fan of. We got that in common. Spoiler alert, that's not the last. It was one of Mr. Enter's earliest animated atrocities, the Groovinians. He says that a few other high-profile people like Rowdy C from TV Trash had already reviewed it. I was thinking, who is this guy? The name kind of sounds familiar because I might have seen some of this come along on the YouTube or Google search recommendations. So I looked him up and sure enough, I found him. And my first episode was not the Groovinians review. It was actually his review of Baby Blues. A bit of a weird one to start off with, sure, but that one just fascinated me. Whether it be the humor, the writing, the in-depth details on why the show failed both in his perspective and in actuality, honestly, I was hooked, and I haven't stopped watching since. I've been following him since 2014 and I'm not gonna stop now. He's given me no reason to get me to stop. But he's giving me several reasons to stay. Let me list some of them right here. Number one, he is really good at doing his research. Yeah, he has those frack-ups as he calls them every so often, but hey, we're all people. We're all imperfect. We all make mistakes. But the lengths he goes to do a lot of his research is very astonishing. He'll dig deep, way deep. He'll find data on homeboys from outer space, or the secret diary of Desmond Pfeiffer. Yes, it's Pfeiffer, the P isn't silent. These things that have been buried to time, he goes out of his way to find as much as he can about it. And he explains the points very well. He gives it enough detail and time so where you get the full gist of it, but it doesn't ramble on too long. And you really feel immersed by the whole thing. So not only are you entertained, you kind of learn a little bit of something along the way. Number 2, transparency. This is something you don't get from a lot of people, big or small. A lot of content creators will always try to pretend that this face that they put on is just them. Take a look at Doug Walker. That guy is just walking PR speak. He's more like some kind of android or forum than he is a person. And as much as I like them, the Game Grumps are getting more and more corporate. Not necessarily a bad thing, but still. With Rowdy C, everything's right up there, front and center. This is probably one of the advantages to being a smaller time content creator. But whether it be on social media or just general updates he gives on the website or his vlogs that he does, he is a very transparent and open guy. He doesn't hide anything. He's got a problem with something or someone, even if they're close with him, he'll just let them know. But he also does this without running his mouth. Again, something else that a lot of other people struggle with. For the most part, he knows how to control it and when to use it appropriately. This gives him an edge. It kind of makes him feel a bit more relatable. Keep that in mind as we go along later. The openness and transparency is always appreciated, and it definitely helps him seem more like an authentic person. And hey, I like authentic people. Plus he's a Texan too, so there's something else we have in common. Number 3, humor. This one is obviously a bit subjective. I will say that comedy is not the number one reason I watch TV trash, but it certainly does help. A lot of his jokes, again, short, sweet, to the point. Few, if any, have ever been dragged out to no end. And whenever he does an overused joke, he pokes fun at it. A lot of self-deprecation humor, a lot of reference humor, and a lot of exaggerated voice humor. There's a lot of varied styles. It's like if the Nostalgia Critic was a bit more unrestrained. Like it didn't have that PR stuff covering it. And of course without Doug Walker's obsessive potty mouth. Of course, Chrissy Moore does swear, but not to the extent that Doug Walker does. Not like that's really a big deal or anything. But what is a big deal is the pacing. It's joke with analysis, joke with analysis, joke with analysis. He keeps it going right along. And dang it, a lot of the stuff he tries is really funny. Part of this has to do with two things, his choice of words and the voice itself. Let's start with choice of words. This one's quite obvious. He uses very funny and descriptive words to use in his vocabulary. Quite obvious. Moving on. Voice. Some people might be bothered by this, honestly, because his voice is kind of high, kind of scratchy, not Gilbert Gottfried levels, but it is kind of reminiscent. But this, combined with the tones he uses and the choice of words, really does help nail the comedy he goes for. It's a nice little package. This voice is likely caused, as he said, by his Asperger's syndrome. Which, does that remind you of someone? A southern person with a high voice due to autism, yelling and screaming a lot? Chris Chan? No, Rowdy is nothing like Chris Chan, trust me. He's kind of the opposite, because, you know, he's got sense and talent. Snap. I went there. Number 4, personality. Kind of touched on this one already, but he just seems like a cool guy, like a kind of guy you can just hang with, you know? He's a bit of an everyman. He's annoyed by the same things that annoy you. He just likes chilling and relaxing with a lot of kind of media. And heck, he's a baseball fan, so definitely gotta love that. And of course there's that wrestling bit, which actually, him combined with Ben the Looney back in the day, have provided me every bit of wrestling knowledge that I know, and honestly has gotten me to start watching a few matches. And you know, it's alright. I might watch it here and there, we'll see. But hey, I can thank him for sharing that with me. Not personally, I've never spoken to him, although that would be awesome. He just seems like a really cool guy, and it shows with his videos. Well, yes, he is technically playing a character. The character is still very close to who he is, of course, just angrier and yellier. Because if you watch him in his vlogs, he's actually fairly toned down compared to this. Especially toned down to his pizza guy character, but more on that in a bit. Once again, it helps you relate with him more, understand him more, and just kind of like him more. That's one of the reasons why I've got that same kind of style too, is I want to be approachable like this guy. But I've already talked about that a fair amount, so let's just keep on moving. Number 5, Everyman production values. Yeah, the show's low budget, what do you expect? It's not something like Channel Awesome, or Ashens, or Andre Blacknerd, or Game Grumps, or J-Wits, or Pie Guy Rules, or Mr. Enter, or whatever. Throw it all at me, pretty much this is lower budget. But you know what, he proves that you can do a lot with a little. Not only does the Everyman production value, again, kind of help with the whole relatability factor, it's got its own charm to it. He's not trying to be big, he's not trying to be grand, he's not trying to be bombastic and loud and explodey and ooh, look at that, look at this spectacle. He's just doing whatever he can with whatever he's got, and he's making a lot out of it. This ties back again to the humor aspect. He knows what he's doing, he knows how to use his limitations. And once again, it's endearing. Number 6, variety. This guy's got a lot. If you don't like reviews, cool. He's got his skits where he's an angry pizza man talking about how much he hates his customers and wants to destroy them. He's also got the Wrestling Mark where he talks about a bunch of wrestling stuff. He's got News Crap where he talks about fake news. He's got Rowdy and Friends, some really interesting and again, somewhat low budget but does a lot with what they have, skits. And he's also got just his straight reviews where if you don't like the kind of semi-spectacle that the Rowdy C reviews have and you want just more the analytical side and emotional side, then go to those. Most of them are Patreon exclusive, but even so, the few that you're able to get your hands on outside of Patreon, definitely worth the watch. This guy's got everything, and he doesn't have one thing hog up too much of the spotlight. Although TV trash is his main, so he definitely does put a bit more focus on that, as well as the reviews. He does make sure that they're all welcome and that each series has its chance to shine and a happy song to sing. Although he doesn't really sing. That's a faulty joke, I apologize. So, dear viewer, I bet you're wondering, what TV trash episode should I start with? What ones do you consider the best? Well, I know Rowdy C, also known as Grizzly Moore, for those who aren't paying attention, has already made a top 10 TV trash episodes list. Well, you know what? I got my own. Some of them are the same, quite a few are not, but I'm willing to give my countdown of my top 10 favorite TV trash episodes. So, let's begin. Number 10, Saturday Supercade, also known as the 150th episode. This one's just kinda sweet. It's very analytical, again, talking more about the structure of the show. The show being this kinda cheesy Saturday morning cartoon based off a ton of video games like Q*bert, Frogger, Kangaroo, or Donkey Kong and all that. Which, yeah, this would technically be the first Mario cartoon. Talking about the ups and the downs and what works and what doesn't, although there is one special aspect to this. You kind of get this feeling of nostalgia throughout, because he has mentioned time and time again in the video that this was his jam as a kid. Right along with Berenstain Bears, this would be one of the things that he would set an alarm for to wake up and watch. And you could see that through his delivery, his choice of words, everything. And it's kind of nice to watch. It's kind of like when you and a friend go back to watch that one show you loved as a kid, and even though it doesn't really hold up, you're just kind of overwhelmed with that kind of feeling of, joy and this was me and my life back then. It's kind of like watching someone kind of go through that. Although it is a bit more restrained than it would be on initial airing, because let's face it, this isn't a live reaction. But it's still nice to watch, and kind of interesting to find out about one of the first video game cartoons ever. Number 9, SpongeBob SquarePants, another milestone episode. The 1,000 subscribers celebration episode. Boy, if he could just get to 2,000 already, he deserves it. This SpongeBob review is unlike any other SpongeBob review I've ever seen. Because let's face it, we in our generation have grown up with this, so we know all about it. We know its ups and its downs and all that. Mr. Enter and Pie Guy Rules may be great at talking about SpongeBob, but still, they're a little biased because they grew up with the classic stuff and they know all about it. Rowdy C did not. He has actively stayed away from SpongeBob up until this point. So this SpongeBob review is unique in the sense that it's coming from fresh eyes. We're seeing it from his perspective upon first time he's watching it. He has no real exposure to it, doesn't really know all about it, and yes, he does do a lot of his research even if he does mispronounce Hillenburg's name. He knows what's going on behind the show, and he certainly knows how the fans feel about it. And he does give pretty much the same thoughts that everyone else does, but again, it's that added wrinkle of he's not biased, he's not familiar with the show up until now. I challenge you to find someone who gives this much data and cares this much who hasn't seen SpongeBob before. It's quite the interesting bit to watch, Number 8, Family Guy month. Which episodes? All of them. If you're gonna start, I'd probably say start with the Family Guy month. This has a lot of what he does best. Really good analytical skills, talking about what exactly in these episodes, being Family Gay, Not All Dogs Go to Heaven, and Road to the Multiverse, as well as the opener, because that one especially has a lot of analytics to it. It's also got a lot of good humor and a lot of really good exaggeration, like I've said. He's also able to relay his history with Family Guy and explain everything about it and how he feels about it too, not just the analytical parts or just playing things up for comedy. And he kind of did get me thinking, because I have been very, very critical about Family Guy in the past. One of the reasons why I decided to even check it out in the first 3 seasons was because he said it was actually somewhat good. I checked it out and it wasn't really for me, but I can certainly say it's a lot better than, say, Fresh Air or any of the things that they churn out now. And if you really hate Family Guy, watch this, because it just feels great to see 5 episodes of this guy just tearing into it. And yes, I'm counting the return to Family Guy month in this too, because yep, that's an addition, it's an addendum. May not have been in the 2011 era like the others, but it counts. My 2 favorite bits of Family Guy month are the opener, of course, because again, it just gives this general overview of what you're about to see in the show as a whole, and when and how it exactly went down, as well as his little rant at the end of Not All Dogs Go to Heaven. That was just perfect karmic retribution for Seth MacFarlane. All I can say is, check it out. Number 7, the Hanna-Barbera Superstars 10 collection. Rowdy C decides to go over all these 10 movies about all the Hanna-Barbera characters we all know and presumably love. Yogi Bear, Scooby-Doo, those kind of people. He's already covered one in the past before, but this is a nice big retrospective of all of these ups and downs in Hanna-Barbera's legacy. If you want a good spectrum on the history of this is the one to go to. Humor is a bit down in this one as it's more focused on kind of explaining what these things are and how they went down, but again, just kind of an interesting case study to watch. And it's kind of interesting to see just how quality-wise these things fluctuated so much. There's the great ones like The Good, the Bad, and the Huckleberry Hound, and just terrible ones like The Reluctant Werewolf. These things didn't really seem to have any sort of consistent quality going around. Then again, that is Hanna-Barbera, right? Number 6, the XFL. XFL. I'm not like a huge football fan, I'm more of a baseball guy. But you know, football's alright. I always root for the Dallas Cowboys, of course, and the Cleveland Browns because they always get my pity vote. They just can't do anything right. Anyways, similar to the Hanna-Barbera Superstars 10 thing, this is one giant retrospective about how the XFL came to be, why it failed, and what it did. But not only that, this one appears to be pretty much the same as the Hanna-Barbera Superstars 10 one, right? Nope. This one's actually got a thesis to it on how the XFL ended up ruining televised sports. And you know what? He got me thinking. It did. A lot of these stupid promotions and the sky cams and this over-glorified mess that things have become in recent years because they're all about them television markets. Watch this video and tell me you don't agree. He's making very good points. Plus, the history of the XFL is already some kind of sitcom thing in the works, I'm sure. Just the amount of craziness and insanity and ego and everything that went into this. I mean, let me boil it down for you. There was an injury within the first few minutes of the first few games that resulted in a massive bone break. They go overtime and end up preempting Saturday Night Live. One of the power stations in one of the stadiums goes completely out, so they have to completely stop the game for a while. One of their commentators was Jesse Ventura, who at the time was the governor of Minnesota. Rod Smart causes a lot of problems by having "He Hate Me" printed on the back of his jersey. It's so much. I'm leaving out a whole bunch too. Check it out if you want to see all the stuff that went on with the XFL and some really good points about how it changed sports forever for the worse. Number 5, Cop Rock. This is Rowdy C's favorite one that he's done and my 5th favorite. Duh, it's in the number 5 slot. This one is one of his funniest. Cop Rock, for those who don't know, is a cop drama like NCIS and Law and Order and you know the type. But it's a musical. It's a musical, and it plays itself straight. It's not like a parody, no, it's a cop musical. It's just as hilarious as it sounds. Basically, not only is it really, again, in-depth information, but some of the funniest reactions he's got. Just completely over-the-top cartoon, Bugs Bunny-esque stuff. Just the sheer magnitude of how he just gets more and more freaked out and blown away by this stupid idea that turns out to be even stupider in execution. I don't know, is it stupider, more stupid, whatever. The point is, you want to see some good reactions, you gotta go to this one, and I bet this one was just a blast to make. Number 4, Life with Lucy. Now I bet this is a weird choice for those of you who have actually seen this. It just appears to be a standard TV trash episode. But you know what? This one's a bit more toned down, yes, but it actually paints a really sad story. You see, Lucille Ball, the star of I Love Lucy, I'm sure we've all heard of that, whether or not we've actually seen it. She wanted back in the game in the 80s, of course. So she tried this show, Life with Lucy. However, as Rowdy C put it, it's like she just didn't know that the 50s were over. She was pretty much just trying to remake I Love Lucy and try to make it work in the 80s. And it failed. And she took it really, really hard. He teased this one in Into the Wild Green Yonder review, you know, that Futurama episode, and I was all excited thinking, oh, what is this second chance that went horribly awry? And I will admit, on first announcement, I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh, a Lucille Ball show? But then when I watched it, I kind of realized this thing pretty much destroyed her. She would rarely appear in public again. Apparently they had to pull her aside and make sure she was alone when they told her it was canceled. It was this big mess. And Rowdy takes a really somber look at the show and kind of explains what about it didn't work. And that objectively, yeah, it's an alright show, nothing too terrible, but it just didn't belong in the time period. He takes a lot of really interesting looks here, and it really does help make you realize that Lucille Ball's final days as a star, not the best, but it does make for one of the best reviews. Now we get to the top 3. I had a little bit of trouble coming up with some of these on the earlier parts of the list because I was thinking, oh, what would it be? Is it going to be Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer? Ooh, that's a good one. How about the Nut Shack review? That one's also really good. You can't leave out his Charlie Brown reviews, although, spoiler alert, sadly I did. But a few of them did come close. But these 3 were never in doubt. Number 3, both reality TV reviews. First of all, there's one called Reality TV. It's just a joke where he says reality TV sucks, bye, and then it's like a 10-minute black screen. That's a good joke. Then he goes into the real reality TV, which I don't know if this is acting or just Chris being really mad at the stain on America that is reality TV, but he goes full rage here, and it really feels real. Like I said, I can't tell if this is scripted or not, because I can tell he viscerally hates reality TV, and rightly so, you know? Shredding into it constantly for at least 15 minutes, and it makes for very, very good entertainment. Not just catharsis, but again, explaining exactly everything you need to know about why things like Duck Dynasty, Dancing with the Stars, and all that are just scams and terrible, awful shows. Although apparently Punk'd is pretty good. But yeah, that's all I can really say about that one. Number 2, the E! Network. If you want proof that this guy is dedicated to his cause, there's no better proof of that than this one. As he says in the video, it's one thing to view episode after episode of a bad show, but to view show after show of a bad network, that takes dedication, and it does. And you know what? It's good. It may be a bit of a scattershot one, but you know, that's kind of what it's supposed to be. Covering the E! Network's history as well as its biggest highlights and blunders. Boy howdy, are there a lot of blunders. And as it goes further along, it gets less analytical and more focused on humor and just complete unbridled rage. All when it hits that tipping point when he talks about the shows made about professional wrestlers. Ugh. I know what he's talking about. Probably the best informative episode he's got. If you're interested, check it out. The number 1, though. I bet even Rowdy might be a bit surprised by this one. What is it? Well, his list of top 10 worst commercials. This one is his funniest. Absolute funniest. And also, very informative too. Plus, got a lot of his good emotion in there. It's got everything you could want. Like all the good things I talked about with TV trash. They're all on full display here, especially the humor. He uses a very unique tone of voice in this one. A really different octave, it seems. I don't even know how to describe it, but whatever he did in this one, I hope he does more, because this had me every single time. His choice of words, again, this is on full display here. Like describing those Quiznos rodents as sponge monkeys, his graphic portrayal of how he views the whole Snickers sharks thing. And it was thanks to him, actually, that I found out that free credit report was a scam. I remember loving those commercials when I was little. The more you know. I would talk about this one more, but I really want you guys to see this one. I think you'd really enjoy it. Got a lot of great humor, got a lot of info, everything you'd need from a reviewer. Easily his best in my opinion, and I hope that I've been able to explain successfully why Chris Lee Moore, aka Rowdy C, is my favorite YouTuber of all time. Now, if you want to find his stuff, most of it is not actually on YouTube, although there are links to it. He's got his own site, although he does say he's primarily stationed on YouTube, as that's what he seems to care about most. But if you want to go find his stuff, look up Rowdy C, and then there's a whole big column of TV trash sorted by year. Have at it! There's very few ones that don't work, and he's usually the first to admit that they don't work. And of course, you may disagree on some of the things that he says, like I certainly do. I actually liked the live action Tick and most of Drawn Together. But you know what? Hey, he can believe whatever he wants to believe and I can believe whatever I want to believe. That and also we tend to agree on most other things anyways, but hey, that shouldn't really matter. But it is kind of nice, you know? Alright folks, what do you guys think of TV Trash? Have you seen him before? Will you check him out? Comment below, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Now, take care.